I never imagined that a secret buried for 2 decades could suddenly surface and shatter everything I believed about my marriage. My name is David, I'm 38 years old, and I've been married to Sarah for 12 years. We met in college, and for the first few years things seemed perfect, at least on the surface. Sarah was the kind of woman everyone admired. Smart, graceful, and endlessly charming. People always said we were a power couple, supportive in love and stable. But as it turns out, appearances can be dangerously deceiving. Our life together looked normal. We had 2 kids, a nice house in the suburbs, and careers that kept us busy but content. We laughed, traveled, and shared quiet evenings watching movies or cooking together. But over the years, I started noticing subtle changes. Sarah grew distant, quiet at times, and evasive about her past. I pushed those feelings aside, telling myself she was just stressed from work or parenting. But a nagging feeling in my gut told me something was wrong, something I wasn't supposed to see. The truth finally came crashing down on me last month. I was going through some old paperwork in the attic when I stumbled upon a worn leather-bound journal, Sarah's journal. Curiosity got the better of me, and I opened it. The handwriting was unmistakable. As I skimmed through the pages, the words hit me like a freight train. There, written in her own hand, was the story of a secret affair that lasted for years, starting before we met, but somehow, continuing through our entire marriage. I remember the exact moment I closed the journal and sat back against the dusty attic wall, my heart pounding. How could she carry this burden for so long without telling me? How many times had she looked me in the eyes while lying about where she was, who she was with? The betrayal stung deeper than I ever imagined possible. For days, I wrestled with whether to confront her. Part of me wanted to keep the secret buried, pretend it never happened, but the truth was like poison in my veins. I couldn't live with the lie anymore. When I finally decided to face her, I rehearsed the words in my head over and over. Sarah, I know about your affair. 7 simple words that would change everything. That evening, after the kids went to bed, I sat down with her in the living room. Her face was calm, but I saw a flicker of something unreadable in her eyes as I spoke the words. The silence that followed was heavy, suffocating. Then slowly she nodded. No denial, no excuses. Just acceptance. That night, our marriage, once a quiet sanctuary, felt like it was burning down around us. For years, I replayed every conversation, every glance, every unexplained absence. How had I missed the signs? The late-night calls, the distant looks, the unspoken tension. Sarah and I tried to talk, but it was like trying to patch a sinking ship with tape. She confessed that the affair had been with someone she met before we were married. Someone she never fully let go of. It wasn't just a mistake. It was a secret life that spanned 20 years. The days after the confession were a blur of anger, sorrow, and disbelief. I felt like a stranger in my own home, watching the woman I thought I knew transform before my eyes. The weight of betrayal was crushing. I started sleeping on the couch, unable to face the silence in our bedroom. Friends and family tried to support me, but no one really understood the depth of the wound. Maybe you can forgive her, they said. But forgiveness felt impossible. How do you forgive someone who kept your whole life alive for 2 decades? I began to question everything. Our memories, our promises, our future. Was any of it real? The children deserved the truth, but how could I explain this nightmare to them without destroying their world? One night, in the darkest hour, I realized I had to choose my own peace. Staying in a marriage built on deception was a slow death for my soul. I wanted honesty, respect, and love. Things I couldn't find in the shadows of Sarah's past. So, I sat her down again, this time with the clarity of a man who had reached his limit. I told her, I love the mother of my children, but I can't love the woman who hid from me for 20 years. Those 7 words were final. There was no room for argument, no space for apologies. It was an ultimatum. Either rebuild from truth or walk away. Sarah looked at me, eyes full of tears, and for the first time in years, I saw vulnerability. She wanted to fight for us, but I knew some wounds run too deep. The next weeks were filled with counseling sessions, painful conversations, and the slow, tentative steps of trying to heal. Our relationship was fragile, but something in me hoped that maybe, just maybe, honesty could be the foundation for a new beginning. Despite the counseling, I couldn't shake the feeling that our marriage had fundamentally changed. The trust one once took for granted was shattered, and rebuilding it felt like climbing a mountain without gear. Sarah tried to be more open, but the ghost of her secret lingered in every conversation, every quiet moment. One afternoon, I found myself alone in the backyard, staring at the swing where our kids used to play. I thought about the life we had built and the future I had imagined. Was it still possible to find happiness after such a betrayal? The turning point came when Sarah handed me a letter. Her words written from a place of raw honesty. She admitted how the affair started out of fear and loneliness, how she regretted it every day, and how she wanted to earn back my trust, no matter how long it took. It wasn't a magic fix, but it was a start. I realized then that love isn't always about perfection. It's about choosing to face the hard truths together, or knowing when to let go. For us, the decision wasn't simple, but it was real. I still carry the scars of those 20 years hidden in the shadows. But I also carry the hope that from the ashes of deception, something new can grow, if both hearts are willing to try. So those 7 words I told Sarah, they didn't just end one chapter, they opened another. One where honesty, no matter how painful, became the only path forward.